Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today I have what's going to probably be like a three-part series. It's going to be called Do I Still Love It? Glock Model 19 Gen 5 MOS, Do I Still Love It? I want to kind of revisit some of my old videos. I want to kind of rewatch my old videos and see if I still feel the same way about certain guns as when I made those videos. Because when I made my Glock 19 video, that was over 2 years ago. So have my opinions on the Glock 19 changed? Where do we start? I don't want to redo the whole video. So this is kind of like, do I still feel this? Do I still feel the same way as when I made that video? So we will quickly just kind of go through over what comes in the box, at least when I got it. So we have the Glock box. I don't think that's changed. I believe this came with 3 magazines. Oops. 3 magazines, magazine loader. I don't think this is the original one. I think the one that came with this, it was much more textured to match this right here. This is an older example that I kind of got as a replacement, but it looks just like this. It comes with a brush. Comes with like a pull-through rod. You can attach the brush to the pull-through rod. Let's see what else we got. We got the lock. All this came in the box. We have the back straps. The back straps go on by kind of hooking on the bottom and then pinning over here. I think this also kind of snaps into place over there. So I got the medium one with the back strap on right now. I'm sorry, the medium one with the beaver tail. Then we have the medium one without the beaver tail. The large without the beaver tail, and the large with the beaver tail. If you want small, just take them off. Let's see, what else we got? Oh, the optics plates. The MOS stands for Modular Optic System. Mine comes with steel plates. I think the ones Glock are putting out now are plastic. And, you know, I would prefer the steel. I'm pretty sure this is steel. This is too heavy to be aluminum. This is probably steel. And if Glock really is putting out plastic plates at this point, I would say, I don't know, that's not good. The ones I have are steel. I've been told that the ones Glock is putting out now are plastic. It comes with the wrench. Oh, is the wrench not in there? Okay. I think this is in a bag somewhere else. I'm missing 2 screws and a wrench, and that's in a bag separately somewhere else. But it comes with like these 4 plates, and you know, you undo this screw, these 2 screws. You take the cover plate off. You put on your plate of choice. Screw those down, then put your optic on top of that. I've done it. I put like a Holosun 507C, but I've bad astigmatism and I did not care for it, so I got rid of that. I put this all back together the way it was, and I sold it to someone else. So it does come with a lot of stuff in the box. It does. So do I still love the Glock 19? I feel like not focusing. Glock Model 19 Gen 5. Doesn't say MOS, but it is MOS. Made in Austria, 9x19. Is the Glock logo again. Let's see. Glock there. Oh, before anyone asks, this is an attachment point for a Black Hawk omnivore holster. It attaches right, kind of like grabs on right there. You can put on a bunch of different guns. It's kind of a universal holster. It doesn't fit anything perfectly, but it fits a lot of things well. And you kind of deactivate the holster by pushing down. Comes out. So that's why that's on there. I rewatched my old video, and one of the things I noticed is I kept talking about the differences between the Generation 3 Glocks and Generation 5 Glocks. Because I made that video over 2 years ago. And while the Gen 5 Glocks have been out for like 5-6 years now, at that time it was a little more relevant. So, and it's interesting how much time I spent on that. I talked about, you know, they increased the texture, which is true. They got rid of the finger groove, which is true. Those are all good things. They made the magazine release reversible and bigger, which is true. You know, mine had front serrations and rear serrations. Mine had slide release on the left side and slide release on the right side. You know, these are all, I think, all Gen 5 features, and I think for the most part, they were all good improvements. I think this rail here, this has a single point rail. I think Glock switched to a Picatinny rail. I said Glock accessory rail. I believe even Glock themselves, I believe, if I understand correctly, this is actually a single slot of Picatinny rail. However, multiple slots would have been nice. Would have been nice. When I made the video, I talked about the Glock sights, how while they're pretty good, they were easy to break. They're plastic. And since making that video, I've installed these True Glow night sights, and I do recommend them. I forget exactly what model they're called. Maybe if you throw in TGH2, you might get that. And one of the reasons I went with these True Glow sights is it doesn't cover up the optics plate. So if you want to put an optic on here, it doesn't extend past here. So when I did have that Hollow Sun optic on here, it worked fine. So do I still love it? I took it to the range. I wanted to refamiliarize myself with the Glock 19. Just give myself some time with me and the gun. And honestly, I still enjoyed it. I found it very pleasant to shoot. I don't know if I say to check this or not, but yeah. I found it very pleasant to shoot. You know, it's a very soft shooting gun. I still like the ergonomics. I have the the medium grip with the beaver tail that fits my hand very nicely. I did note the trigger was not great. In my initial video, I said I didn't like how the trigger safety, this is a drop safety, this trigger safety is not flush with the trigger face when you deactivate it. That's still true. However, I don't seem to mind that as much anymore. It's fine. While the trigger pull is probably improved over the Gen 3s, it's not as good as like a Canic or a Walther PDP or a VP9. It's just not as good, but it's okay. It's okay. So I found it very pleasant to shoot, and I found that the trigger, while not great, is okay. It's okay. Now, one of the other things I noted in that video that I made of the Glock 19 is I talked about Glock's lack of innovation. And those comments have aged like fine wine. I said Glock's never going to change the sights because because people make all these aftermarket sights. They're not going to change these dovetails. They're not going to change this pin-on. This pin-on thing is a bad idea. It was a good idea like 40 years ago when you weren't going to change the sights, but now today that really should be a dovetail. It's not. People be like, oh, it's not a big deal. That's not the best thing to do. I said Glock's never going to change the grip angle because then they have to admit that the grip angle is too sharp. However, the people who shoot Glocks kind of know to rotate their hands down a little bit, their wrists down a little bit. I said Glock's never going to change the trigger guard because they want to make sure all the holsters still work. So the things that makes Glock a Glock or Glock's distinctive, they're not going to change, and I was absolutely right. But Glock has a severe lack of innovation. They really do. This is currently 2023, and their two models were like, their two new offerings were like, a 20-year-old 380, that retro 380, and the Glock 47. The Glock 47, which is like a Glock 17, but if you want, you can throw a Glock 19 slide on there. Like, what was that? So Glock has a severe lack of innovation. They really are resting on their laurels. It's all the same gun. But how thick do you want it? How long do you want the grip? What caliber you want? It's the same gun. And their innovation is terrible. They're stagnating. They're not doing things like Canic is doing with the Rival, and even Smith & Wesson with their competition models, and FN with their competition models, which are super overpriced, like the FN Edge, super overpriced, but they're doing it. Or the Walther Q5. Glock isn't offering these like higher end competition guns. They're just offering these very, very simple duty guns. However, it still works. It still works. I still like it. It's fun. It's pleasant to shoot. It's pretty accurate. Oh, accuracy. Let's get on that. Almost forgot. These are my targets. So like I said, I went to the range today. This is 5 shots, 7 yards. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, like, that's not bad. It is only 7 yards. That's not bad. 10 yards. Again, spreading out a little bit. You can see that. 15 yards. That one's not particularly great, but 15 yards, you know, 25 yards. Now at this point, I'm sorry, that's 20 yards. At this point, it's kind of me. My eyes getting a little old. It's all on target. And this one, 25 yards. Oddly enough, one in the bullseye. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one's a miss. So I hadn't shot in a while, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. So I'm probably gonna keep it. I don't think it's worth selling. You know, I don't think it's worth swapping this out for something else. I think everything I said in that original video is correct. All the Generation 5 features are improvements. Almost every single one of them. I don't know if there's one that was actually worse. The slide serrations in the front, the slide releases on both sides. The trigger is a little bit better. The texturing all around is better. I think the Generation 5s, you know, the Gen 5 Glocks were an improvement over the Gen 3s and the Gen 4s. Good job, Glock. But like I said, a Glock's a Glock, and they're just not doing things like shadow systems. They're not doing things like high-end competition models. Just not doing it. Glock is really resting on their laurels, and to a degree, maybe that's not a bad thing. Like, hey, it's a Glock. It's gonna work. It's not the latest and greatest. It's not to have all the whiz-bang features, but it's gonna work. And there might be something to that. I think at this point, I don't really have anything more to add. And I was actually surprised, even though I didn't like my enunciation and my presentation in my Glock video. I was like, yeah, it could be a little better. I feel like everything I said in that video is still right. Like, it's all, while the video isn't terrible, you know, I feel like my presentation has gotten better over the years. The things I said in that video is still 100% correct. So, do I still love the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS? Yeah, I still like it. I think that while it's a little behind the times, I don't think that lack of innovation makes it a bad gun in itself. It just doesn't have all those latest and greatest competition, whiz-bang, magazine well, lightning cuts. You know, it doesn't have all those crazy features, but it works, and it does what it's supposed to. So yes, I do still like the Glock, love the Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS. Anyway, this has been Steven from the Even Steven channel. Please don't like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.